Welcome back to another episode of Out There with Johnny. Today, we kick off the series. It's going to be a fairly long series. It's going to cover different telescopes, mounts, etc. But we're going to start with one of my favorite things to play with. Of course, well, they're all favorite, but this one's kind of nice because a little tiny package. It's actually a smart scope. And it's called the Dwarf II. It's put out by DwarfLabs. And what I want to do now is I want to open this up, talk about it, show you what we have, what I've added to it to make it even better. And then we're going to talk about the purpose of this. So let's open up this bag. If you buy the basic, you will get this bag. You will get the telescope. And you will get a tripod. If you buy the deluxe model, then you will get an extra battery and a series of filters. Two 1 million NFD filters, which essentially is sun filters. Two of them because you want to cover the two lenses that are on here, because you have a wide field lens and you have a telephoto lens. It also comes with a UHC ultra high contrast filter for the astronomy portions that this can do. Now what I've added to it for myself is I have a 3D printed base plate reinforcement that goes on the bottom here, and then I have a Manfrotto style shoe because I put this on my Manfrotto 550 tripod. Very large, heavy-duty tripod. The second thing that I got for it was a series of attachments. One of them being Polar Star alignment, because you can use this in AZ and EQ, both. And this little 3D printed finder is a quick and easy way to find the polar star and do a rough polar alignment. Now, you're not going to take any exposures longer than 15 seconds with this device. So exact polar alignment isn't necessary. But what it does do is it gives you a whole lot more stacks with a whole lot less of any type of field rotation. So it's nice for that. And like I said, it just pops on, pops off. Easiest behind. The filters that you get with the deluxe model also comes with a filter tray. Looks like this. It's got two sides to it because you have telephoto lens on one side of the camera and you have wide field. So when you look at the camera itself, flip it around here, you pull it up, you have two lenses in here. And I don't know if it'll pull them up or not, but there's one on either side. And what you want to do is you want to be able to take your filters and just pop it on. Now what's nice about this is it's magnetically held on. You just pop it on, pop it off. Simple, simple, simple. Really, really nice. And then, on the filters that come with it, I also added a couple other filters. They're not actually filters, but batten off mask that fits over the telephoto so you can focus it better if you need to or want to. And then I got a 4-point and 6-point star filters that gives you those star spikes that some people like, some people don't, diffractions. I know my wife really likes it when I use the diffraction spikes. She likes those stars looking like that. But essentially, you're going to take both of your sun filters. You're going to screw it in. You're going to screw it in, and then you just pop it on. You do not want to go looking for the sun without these on first, because you will ruin your sensor if you try to look at the sun directly without both filters in place. So always remember that. If you plan on looking at the sun, I'd advise you to get the deluxe model. This is especially true coming up the 8th of April when the totality eclipse comes through. Our home, we're fortunate this year, our home is in the direct path of totality. So I will definitely be out in my front yard or my backyard, wherever, and I will be tracking the sun, and I will be using this because this device will track the sun. And if you're just using the UHS filter, or UHC filter, then you're only going to put it on one side, and that's the telephoto side. But for the sun, make sure you have both filters in before you go looking at the sun. And of course, when you're done, you just take it all apart, put the filters in their case where they belong, and put it away in the case. Now, battery life. I have found that in general, I can go about 3 hours continuous recording before I have to change batteries. Pretty close to 3 hours. You can also plug in to the charging port here, which is a USB-C, an extended battery. So if you have a large capacity battery, you can plug it in and go all night with it without any interruptions. As far as what is all on this, here's your on-off button here on the top, right here. You have a ring indicator here, depending on the color and how it's flashing is what mode you're in. And then you have your battery level indicators, 4 of them here. And then on the top, you have your heat sink, which also acts as a dew heater for the optics. So you can you can overclock your CPU essentially by selection in the menu, create more heat, and it keeps dew from forming on your lenses or condensation inside. Hopefully there's not anything inside. This is a sealed unit. Now, on the back side here, get a little door right there. That little door is where your micro USB SD card is, right inside there. And I actually find it's easier just to simply pull that card out, plug it into my PC, download the files I want, delete them if I need to, and then put it back into the unit. This door here pops open. That is your battery. Just pull it right out, just like that. Piece of cake. Now, unfortunately, what they don't have is they don't have an external battery charger. So if I go through both batteries, I have to plug in one at a time, plug in a charger to the base USB-C, and charge it in telescope only. So if they come up with a multiple battery charger, I don't know if they will or not, but sometimes it's just more convenient to go down and buy a battery bank, a large battery capacity battery bank, and just plug it into this and use it that way. That way you can go for a long time without changing anything. So, and then again, as you saw a little earlier, I do have the 2 lenses. And this side is your telephoto, this side is your wide angle. Now, you notice these are not centered perfectly in the cylindrical. So if you're not careful and you go to open this and you grab it on the wrong side, as you twist it around, you're going to end up putting your fingers actually on the lenses. So if you take the side that has the micro USB cover, grab that side on the edge and twist up, you're not going to touch your lens. Just a little hint there, keep you from putting prints all on this side of your lens. Now let's talk about the intentions of this little thing. It's $500. to get the deluxe, or maybe it's almost 600. Anyway, it's fluctuated depending if they have sales or not. It is. People have called this a toy. It's not a toy at all. It's a very precise camera. It tracks extremely well. It stacks very well. It's an 8 megapixel camera that's on the telephoto. And the thing you got to realize is this was never intended to be as good or replace a multi-$1,000 unit. So guys that get on here and bash this thing, that say it's not a true telescope, it's not a true this or that. It's not a multi-$1,000 telescope, but for what it was intended for, it does an outstanding job. For the bright, colorful nebulas that are out there, the bright ones, it does a great job. The Orion Nebula looks fantastic. The Helix looks good on it. The Rosette looks really good on it. It does a good job on the brighter objects. In the summertime, when you have the Milky Way coming up, it pulls out a lot of those nebulas beautifully. The bright ones. We're talking M8. We're talking the Eagle. We're talking the Swan Nebula, so forth and so on. It does a great job. It does pretty good on some of the fainter stuff too, with post-processing. Now that's the key thing with this. You can watch the live stack on your tablet or your phone, and it does a nice job. It gives you some rudimentary controls to affect the display. It'll also save every individual frame, and you can post-process stack it yourself, and then you can compare the two. This was actually intended for beginner to maybe intermediate people who want to get into astrophotography, or just stay with it as EAA. It gives you some controls. You can you can set your gains, you can set your image length, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever, 15 seconds max. You can affect your contrast, brightness, so forth and so on, curves. It gives you a lot of control that you wouldn't expect in a $500 telescope. I'm actually quite pleased with it. And the reality of it is, between this and my other smart scope, which is a whole other series, these are pretty much my pick it up, throw it in the car, and go. If I want to go after really high quality astrophotos, then I'll take my multi-$1,000 setup and go outside and do that. But when I'm just in a mood to look at something and just have a little bit of fun, this is where I'm going to go. This and the other one I have, which is another, like I said, a whole other series. So don't look at this and go, oh, well, it doesn't see that far. It can't do that much. It can do a lot, and it excels in exactly what it was designed to do. And that's the thing you got to realize. There are guys out there who, like me, have high-end equipment, but we love these little things. They're quick and easy to take out. And for star parties, you'd be amazed how much attraction these get at star parties. And I've taken this out to several people, even people at work, people in the neighborhood, and you'd be surprised. People realize that how much, for $500, $550, whatever it is now, they can do something they've never thought they could do before. It's within their reach. It's not going out and doing what some of us do, exact polar alignment and this and that and post-processing and, you know, all the stuff that kind of intimidates people about getting into this kind of a hobby. This puts you in touch. It's like a stepping stone, or as my wife says, it's a gateway drug into higher expensive stuff. But it does a great job. And if you really want something that's just quick, it's easy, it's carried around in your backpack, you can wear it on your belt, take it anywhere, set up anywhere quickly, and looking at things within seconds, it's a way to go. Now, on the next videos, we're actually going to use it. So there's going to be different episodes for that as well. We're going to have an episode for the sun. The sun's going to be important to do first because April's not that far away. And I want to show how well it does and works with the sun. And I need to show you the field of view and why I'm going to use this come April 8th for the total solar eclipse. The second one is going to be actual astronomy in itself. We'll take it out at night. We're going to pick something fairly bright, something not so fairly bright, and we'll take a look to see how it does. And then the third one is going to be daytime use, but I want to go over the other functions this thing does, because it's not just astronomy, even though that was its strong point for selling it. But birders love it too, because a telephoto lens can focus in real nicely on birds, but the secret sauce is you can draw a box around the bird, and as it moves, it'll track it on its own. This thing has 2 CPUs in it and a neural processor with AI to work to help it with that tracking function. It also has gigapanoramas, so you can do multiple rows and columns, and then you have to have a third party to stitch them together. But you can do large panoramas with this as well. And because it does have that filter clip that goes on the front, you can buy other various filters to put on here for other uses you want to do. Now, I do have the ZWO dual band filter that I put on here, which helps immensely in pulling in the nebulous. And I use this in a Bortle 8 Sky, and it does a fantastic job for what it was designed to do. So, with all that, think about this one for a moment. Think about what I've talked about today. And then in our next videos, let's look at what it actually does. Because you can read all the hype in the world and still be disappointed. So my intent is, this is the hype. Now let's see what it practically does. So with that, I will see you in the next video, either under the sun, under the stars, or just out there in the day. All depends on what the weather does. And it's not the best time of the year to have good clear skies every day. I will see you out there.